What's up, everybody? I just want to make a quick little video. 3 months ago, I was blind, and now everything is back at normal. And I just wanted to get a glimpse of this snow. Like, I can't stand snow, but today it was so bright and so pretty, and it just made me appreciate my sight so much. I'll tell you the story. Okay, so um, as I was saying, 3 months ago, I was blind, and you can still see I got a little trouble with this lid, but I'm going to just explain to you so you know how important it is to have your health checked from top to bottom. For Thanksgiving, I was living in Houston, and I planned to come home and spend Thanksgiving holiday with my family. So in August, I found a great deal on my flight, booked it, planned a whole week. I was flying on Southwest, so I got 2 bags. So I had a bag of clothes, and I brought a bag of kitchen equipment, uh, knives, cutting boards, whisk, uh, graters, everything, because I love to cook, and I was coming to cook for my family for the holiday. I was getting ready to pretty much make Thanksgiving dinner for 12. And Monday, I flew in, and I was fine. My mom picked me up from the airport. We stopped, got some lunch, White Castles, because that's one of my first stops when I come to the city. And my sister had some some Long John's donuts waiting for me from our favorite donut shop called Dawn Donuts here in Flint, Michigan. And I was ready to go. I was ready to, just spend this time with my family and my nieces and nephews and just love up on everybody and receive love and just have a good time. My mom picked me up at 1 p.m. By 6 p.m., I had the worst headache I had ever had in my life. Just like every side of my head was hurting. I was like, well, I don't understand what's going on. I never get headaches. Then from a headache, it turned to nausea. And then I was vomiting. Just a little bit of lunch and donuts I had. I was like, well, I eat here all the time, so this is strange. Why am I getting sick? Then by, say, 9 p.m., I had a fever. It was just boom, 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 one thing after the other. So, being a guy who does not like doctors and going through that whole process of going to the emergency clinic or the hospital or anything, I just said, look, I'm going to take a NyQuil. I'm going to take a little nap. And because NyQuil, honestly, is my answer to everything. I got a pain in my toe, I'm going to take some NyQuil. I got a raspy throat, I'm going to take some NyQuil. I got a headache, I'm going to take some NyQuil. That's just, it's really my cure-all. So I took some NyQuil, laid down, and, took a nap because it doesn't keep me out very long. And when I woke up, it was probably 1:32 in the morning. I laid down about 9:30. I woke up about 1:30 in the morning, and I just felt weird. Like I woke up, and when I uh, opened my eyes, the room looked like it was in a different arrangement than it was in when I laid down. I was like, oh, it's kind of funky, but maybe I took too much NyQuil or it was bad on my empty stomach. I really couldn't figure out what it was. So I couldn't hear my mom snoring. So I was like, well, let me go check on her because she snores. Like, if she's not snoring, I think she's dead. So I'm like, let me go check on my mom. And on my way to her room, I stopped in the restroom and I wanted to brush my teeth. Um, I just kind of splashed some water on my face and just like, try to figure out how I was feeling. And when I looked in the mirror, I was looking at myself, but this side of my face was up here. So this eye was down here, this eye was up here. And I was touching all over, trying to make sure that what I was feeling was right. Like everything was in place when I felt it, but in the mirror, everything was like just completely origami. Like I couldn't believe how the different shapes and stuff of my face. Excuse me. I just had some need. Everything looked crazy. I couldn't understand why. So I thought it was like, let me just rub the sleep out of my eye and try again. Like I thought it would all be like just me not being completely woke or something. And I opened my eyes again, and this time, this side of my face is doing this, like it's coming up and it's curving over. I'm like, okay, something's wrong. Mom is asleep. Tomorrow morning, everything better be back right normal. It just has to be back to, something I resemble. My younger sister is a registered nurse and had already planned to come by to see me because she hadn't got a chance to see me when I landed. So she was on her way in the morning and I would see her then. When I woke up the next day, this eye was like this, just completely shut. This eye was like looking through a kaleidoscope. So I could lift this lid, but I couldn't see anything. And over here, it was just a complete kaleidoscope. Like I've never experienced that in my life. And I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something was really wrong. As soon as my sister walked into the house to come see me, she looked at me and she's like, I think Scotty having a stroke. And when I heard her say that, I was like, whoa, like stroke. Oh, I didn't have the normal. My dad has had like 3 or 4 strokes, and there are like some signs and some things that you could really point out when you're having a stroke. And I wasn't having any of those things. But she says, we got to get you to the hospital right now. Now, mind you, Thanksgiving is Thursday. This is Monday. I'm sorry, this is now Tuesday morning. So they rushed me to the hospital, and the hospital was full. They didn't have any rooms for me, so they were doing all of my interviews and exams in the hallway of the emergency center. Like, they just had me sitting in a wheelchair and then laying on a gurney in the hallway, and they would just come and ask me, and it probably took about 45 minutes to an hour to get me in a room. So once they got me in the room, I kind of went blank because I had a very high fever, and from what my mom tells me, I was really saying some crazy, strange shit. I don't remember everything that happened in that moment, but I do know that they took me into a MRI machine and took some scans of my head and everything. The only thing I truly, truly remember from that moment in the hospital is the doctor coming in and saying that I had a tumor in my head on my pituitary gland that was causing me to go blind. And it was pretty much like instantaneous, like it was happening as he was speaking. I was getting more and more blind, and I couldn't see anything. I could hear everyone's voices. I knew who was in the room with me, but if I was trying to look, it was kaleidoscope image. Well, this eye I couldn't see anything out of. It was completely useless and gone. But the left eye, my left eye, um, it was very, very tough. So I sat in that hospital with this septic fever that basically caused a sepsis alert in the hospital where I wasn't cold blue, but about 8 or 9 doctors were all called in to rush in and figure out like what was going on with me. Why is my fever 105, 106? And it was just like some crazy shit happening to me. And the whole time I can't see anything, and I'm basically just wondering if I have cancer. That was my main concern. Now, he said the tumor was benign, and I understood what that meant, but you don't hear someone tell you that you have a tumor and you don't think that it's cancer. It's impossible. We live in a very cancer prone society right now, so that word is scary, tumor. Um, but the hospital I was at couldn't do much with me. So now it's Wednesday, and they've been working around the state trying to figure out where I can get some help for this pituitary tumor. So they find Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit who will take me and, try to help me, either surgery or whatever they were going to do. So on Thanksgiving Day, I get transported blind, still blind. I get transported to Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit to begin whatever this next thing is. Now, mind you, I just landed off of a plane smiling and jolly on Monday. Thursday, I'm in a transport ambulance on my way to Detroit for whatever is next. So when I get to the hospital in Detroit, they were taking great care of me. Although I couldn't see anybody, everyone was taking really good care of me and being super kind. And I came along with a file from the hospital that sent me there. And it included a disc that had the MRI imaging and blood work and stuff like that on it. And the hospital, Henry Ford, was looking through this stuff, and they were like, you know what? It's just this file is too dense. We need to kind of take a real look here at our hospital. So if you don't mind, we're going to put you in a CAT scan and another MRI machine. Now, if you have never been in either of those and you're any bit claustrophobic, you're going to have hell, because the scans that they were taking of me were not like get in and get out. I was stuck in these machines. I had an hour and a half MRI at one point. An hour and a half. I felt like, who was the baby that fell down the well a long time ago? Little baby Jessica. That's what I felt like. I mean, I was entombed in this thing. And I'm a big guy. And I was strapped all in and stuck in this tube for like 90 minutes solid. And it's vibrating and it's loud. And it was very annoying and scary. But nonetheless, I'm glad that they took that next MRI, because they realized that the tumor that I had on my pituitary gland, which they believe I'd had for at least 8 years, I had no idea I had this tumor. It had begun to rupture and bleed inside itself from the altitude of my last plane ride. Now, mind you, I've been on at least 12 trips, culminating into about 24 flights through these 8 years and never had a problem. And this Thanksgiving trip is when everything kind of fell apart. So they decide they have to do emergency surgery on Thanksgiving Day when there are no surgeons in the hospital, no surgery scheduled. But they honestly believed that in the next 3 hours or so, I would probably be completely blind in both eyes and they would not be able to repair it. So they, prepared me and let me know that they were calling in a monster team who were coming to save my sight. And I was basically just going along with whatever they were going to do with me because I had no say and I just wanted to be able to see. So they called in about, let's see, I had 2 anesthesiologists, I had 3 ear, nose, and throat, and I had 3 neurosurgeons. And I was prepped and everything for surgery, and they were able to go through my right nostril. They didn't have to cut my head or my skull or anything like that because your pituitary gland actually sits right behind your sinus passages. So they didn't need to go through my skull. They were able to cut a flap into my brain area through my nose. It's very complicated. Look it up. Pituitary tumor surgery is very interesting. How they're able to do this, and it took 5.5 hours of surgery. And when I came out of it, I was like this. I could open this eye, but just a little bit, and this eye was still shut down. But I could see out of it, but I couldn't see much. So I was basically one eye Willie. This eye here was golden. Like I couldn't believe that they had got my sight back because I never thought I'd be able to see again. I don't know if any of you have ever been temporarily blind or even for a second blind, completely blind. I had a THC blackout one time while I was driving through Indiana. And that was the first time I ever had like a 4 or 5 seconds of blindness. And I didn't like that feeling, but this was different because glaucoma and hereditary blindness runs in my family. So I really had to kind of get into my mindset that like, if this is God's will that I be blind at 39 years old, I'm prepared for it. Like I just kind of in my mind had to release all my fears and worries about it and just kind of relinquish myself to this whole process of what I was going through. I never been through anything before, never had a surgery, never had a real stay in a hospital longer than a day or two for anything, and that's generally my asthma attacks. But I never had any other illness, so this was like just beyond me. But this eye was almost like spinning around by itself. It was just way off track. And they told me, they said, well, your eyes will communicate with each other again, because I was getting 2 different pictures. So a lot of time I just kept this eye closed. And I would talk to people like this. I basically just were like, well, just let me, they gave me some exercises to do with this eye and do stuff like that. But I really didn't know. All I knew is I could see out of this eye, and that was good enough for me. So Thanksgiving Day, I had that surgery and instantly had sight back over here. But over here, it was a long time coming. Fast forward to, say, a month later, I could not drive at night because my depth perception was completely gone. But I could start to see out of this eye. It wasn't great, but I could see out of it. Okay, fast forward to 2 months. Now we're in January. Yeah, we're in January. And I'm starting to get peripheral vision. That's the first thing that goes if you're ever having a situation with a pituitary tumor and you don't even know you have it. Your peripheral vision is the first thing to go. And I didn't have any over here. Like I could put my hand right here and I couldn't see it. But they told me, just wait it out, just giving your pituitary some time to kind of bounce back from having all that pressure of the tumor on it, and slowly your optic system will come back together. And 2 days ago, I woke up and I had a full picture. I could see, I had peripheral, I could see straight ahead, diagonally, up, down, everything in both eyes together with one picture. And it was the best feeling because for months now I've been thinking that this eye was just going to always be messed up or look lazy, or I was always going to have trouble driving at night because depth perception at night is scary. If you can only see out of one eye, and you're trying to gauge how far or how close something is to you, it's really hard. But it's back. It is back. Like I'm overjoyed. I have complete sight. And I have to thank the emergency and surgical team of Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit because they were amazing. They came in from their family dinner tables around 5:30, 6 o'clock p.m. to help me and to give me my sight back. So I'm going to give you a few of the symptoms that they say you should look for if you are having a pituitary issue or tumor or something's going on. Number one, urinating a lot. If you always have to pee constantly all the time because your pituitary is like your engine. Thyroid is your energy, but the pituitary tells the thyroid what's going on. I've learned all this stuff. I didn't know all this. I had to learn this stuff. I've been researching it. So heavy urination all throughout the day, all times a day. Sensitivity to temperatures. I was always cold. When everyone else around me was hot, I was living in Houston, I was always freezing cold. And that's one of the symptoms. Slight pressure headaches. That's another symptom. Slight pressure headaches. Mild nausea. And I'm about to be 40 next month, God willing. And I've experienced all those things, but not at the same time. So me being just an average regular guy, yes, I was experiencing these things, but they were far and few in between. And most doctors, if you have insurance or not, are not sending you to get an MRI. That's the only way they can see this stuff. That's the only way they'll know that something's going on. Your pituitary is like the size of a cashew or a peanut or something. It's really small. My tumor was like the size of half of a Skittle, like around that, but it caused so many problems and the blindness. So they really have to have an MRI to see any of this stuff that could be going on with you. So if you have like super great insurance, try to get an MRI every year of your head just to make sure everything in there looks right. Apparently, there are millions of people in this country and around the world who have these pituitary tumors and just don't know it because it's not something everyone checks for. But I cannot pronounce the actual issue I had. It's pituitary A, long word, some shit. But pituitary tumor is all you need to know. But please get yourself checked out for stuff, especially you guys who are like me, who are working 60, 70 hours weeks, 60 and 70 hour weeks, and always on your feet and always on the go. And, our health becomes second nature or second to our everything else. Work is first, work is first, work is first. This country, we live to work instead of working to live. And I just implore everyone to just stay up on their health checks and really pay attention to your body, the signals that you're getting. Like I was getting nauseous every now and then, like a pregnant woman, and just didn't really understand why. And well, I had a tumor. I was always cold, like freezing cold to the touch, uncomfortable. Why? Pituitary tumor. The headaches thing I never really had though. I never really got a lot of headaches, but they say that you will feel them on the sides, like pressure headaches on all around the sides of your face and stuff. So just get checked out. Don't wait too late. Um, and the airplane, or this particular airplane ride, the pressure was enough to cause my tumor to spread. It was the same size. Once it started bleeding inside itself, it had to like find new spaces to fall into, and that's when it started to completely press against my optic nerve. Um, but I can see right now. That's why I wanted to start outside where it was nice and bright and just revel at the fact that I have both my eyes back. Thanks for watching.